the return of sectarianism into our British way of life. Well, I'm joined now by podcaster and commentator Sunil Sharma. Thank you so much, Sunil, for joining us this evening. When you look at these protests that are taking place in London and Birmingham, coming after similar disturbances in places like Leicester, what's your initial reaction to what's going on Britain's streets?
I think, look, first and foremost, I think India will feel they have a right to attack back on a country that's attacked them first. But I think the thing about this is, specifically on India, is they have a leader in Narendra Modi who will put the interests of his people first. We don't have that in the UK. I think we have a government that doesn't prioritise its own people, doesn't prioritise its own country. And I think it feels like now in the UK, this is a country where you're allowed to practice any type of nationalism as long as that nationalism isn't British. And I think that there's a serious issue there. And I think a lot of people are finding this loyalty to other countries easier than their own country that they actually live in. And it doesn't help we're constantly talking down British values on a regular basis. And I think there is an issue in particular with the attachment and loyalty. Look, it's perfectly understandable if you have family in these countries, India, Pakistan, to feel sadness when you see what's going on there. But at the same time, your loyalty should be, every British person should be the United Kingdom. So, and I think that's something that's really lost in Britain. And I think Brits are doing a really poor job. The government are doing a really poor job of really reinforcing that. You know, real-time wages are in decline. The average life of a Brit is getting worse. We're facing realities of pending recession. Crime rates are increasing. Britain has serious problems. We don't have our own house in order. So how we can expect Britain to get involved in conflicts that we don't fully have an understanding in is just not going to work. So I think there's definitely a rise in this foreign nationalism in the UK.
So, Sunil, if I'm hearing you right, what you're saying is essentially this isn't really only about the disturbances that we're seeing between Indians and Pakistanis on Britain's streets. This is actually about a model of multiculturalism, a state policy of multiculturalism that is no longer really working in this country. It's not bringing people together around a shared identity, a shared sense of national interest. Instead, we're fragmenting and we're splitting off into competing identity groups. And those conflicts are now becoming so visible because we don't have that national story.
100%. You know, when you change the demographic as fast as Britain has done in the last 10 years in particular, there are going to be some really nasty repercussions. It's just, you know, the realities of changing the demographic as much as Britain has. It's completely different when you look at the 60s, 70s and 80s, when the numbers are a lot less. You have a shared culture, shared history, shared values, and then you're almost forced to adapt to something. But right now in Britain, what do you have to adapt to when you come in to United Kingdom? And I think multiculturalism has really failed, especially in the last decade or so. And I think now it's a lot easier for people to have further attachments and loyalties to countries that they have some connection to.
Well, sorry, Sunil Sharma, we've just hit the time button, but podcaster and commentator Sunil Sharma speaking a lot of sense. Heather Wheeler, former Conservative MP. I mean, he's got a point, hasn't he? Multiculturalism is breaking down.